Okay, the last mission in the parak. Okay. Person goes on Yom Tiv to a storekeeper he normally frequents, meaning there's a trust between the storekeeper and the customer. Give me so many eggs, give me so many nuts. He's permitted to say the number. As a person normally referred to the eggs or nuts within his own house. It's not a commercial terminology. You go to a shepherd, say, I'd like to buy. He doesn't say buy. He says, give me a goat, otle, or sheep, echod. Now he goes to the butcher. I want a side of beef. I want a kaf, whatever this. It's a way to refer to it. He goes to the one who fattens up the animals. Petem is the one who fattens them up. Give me an ox. Give me give me a type of bird. Baker goes to a baker. Different type of shaped bread. Rather than saying a dozen and a half, give me 20 eggs. Oh, chamishim egozim asar afarskim, 10 peaches. Chamishar rimonim, 5 pomegranates. Not the pound. Give me 5 pounds, because that's the way that terminology is. What? Right? Veser gechor bevachlo yasklo schum. You shouldn't mention the schum. Schum means how much. But what Gemara says, the midah, the weight. But you say the number. As long as you don't say, well, it adds up to me, give me $5 worth of pomegranates. Because once you mention money, that's already, that's clearly, that's a commercial transaction. That's already dvar chol. You're speaking as you would normally speak during the week. So Tosa says, when it says you go to a chedvani and rogaletzlo, which means you have a trust relationship between them, it doesn't make it he's a Jew or a non-Jew. Because we're not talking about what the goy does, we're talking about what you as the customer. What are you permitted, how do you speak? It's interesting, the Gemara says, Mission Shabbos says, Shabbos, in Hebrew, when you want to say you want to borrow, whether you want to borrow money, you want to borrow a cup of sugar, it's the same term, right? But in Hebrew, it's a different word. You want to borrow money, it's called halvo. Halvo is a loan. When you want to borrow a chair, you say, I want to be shoel. She'elo, right? It's like a shoel. A custodian who's a shoel has full liability. It's a borrower. But in the English, you borrow. Whether it's money or it's an object, same thing. But in Hebrew, so there makes a difference in terminology. You go to somebody and say, can I borrow? You say, I want to be shoel something. You want to be loves something, it's a problem. Right? So so in terms in the Hebrew, what word you use would determine whether it's a weekday word or it's a word which is, non-descriptive in terms of doesn't touch upon the commercial relationship. Okay? Hajan aloch in sodun hajan alon hajan lachinson hajan alon hajan lachinson hajan alon. Hamevi kadiyayim mavan l'makom. Person's transporting small jugs of wine. Kad. Chovetz is a big barrel. Kad is a small barrel, a jug. You want to transport him. No, it's interesting. The Gemara says in Shabbos, it says, Lo hilucha b'Shabbos hilucha b'chol. When you walk on Shabbos, you should walk differently than you walk
regularly
on Shabbos. On Shabbos, different than the weekday. Why? During the weekday, you take large strides. Shabbos, you take smaller steps, paces. You shouldn't take large strides. During the week, a person walks quickly. Shabbos, you should walk more leisurely. Okay? So there's a shiloh that you have a puddle. So if you jump the puddle, right, that means you're taking a large stride if you have to jump a puddle. So if you jump the puddle, then that's what you would do during the weekday. But if you don't jump the puddle, that means you have to take a circuitous route, which you have to walk a lot further. So what is it better? To walk further on Shabbos or to jump the puddle? Right? It's the same similar situation. Why? Because you have to behave in a way because the Gemara is going to speak over here now. You have to transport jugs of wine, and you have a party. So if you have to go back, you take a smaller basket, which you normally don't transport in a basket. You have to go back 10 times. So in terms of involvement, you're being more involved. You take a big basket, which normally that's where you normally transport these small jugs of wine. Although that's where you transport it during the week, but in fact you're going less often. You have to go maybe make 2 trips instead of 10 trips. So that's what we can discuss over here. That is the overriding factor, because it becomes, you have to exert yourself to a greater degree, even though that's the way you do it during the weekday. No, going back multiple times is exerting to a greater degree. You're being much more involved, going back and forth. Then that's an overriding factor. We allow you to use the bigger basket that you can put many more jugs into it. We'll see. Maybe kariyayin mokum lokum. You want to transport jugs from one place to place. No, you wouldn't besal b'kupa. Should not put it in the basket or in a box, because that's where you transport it during the week. Maybe aksefo, he puts it either on his shoulder, or lefonov, or he carries it in the hand before him. Chen hamolech, as a tevin, person's transporting straw. He's carrying straw. Lo yavshil is a kupa lachorov. Normally he puts the box, carries it over his back. That's a piece of rope, carries over his back. Avaviu biyadish, carried in his hands. So Rashi says, what is he transporting the straw for? Either for kindling or to feed his animal. So he says, why shouldn't you put it behind you? The Gnai Yom Tifu. He says it's not appropriate in Yom Tif. He said, Nir kimiskavin locha. Rabbo. It looks like you're going to what? You're going to do some heavy work. You're traveling at a long distance. That's when you go prepared with this kind of sack behind your back. You're permitted that if you have a pile of straw, which before Yom Tiv, he didn't even take it from that. It's like in a storage location. You could start. But a woodshed, if the wood was put away and you had to start taking from that wood, then you can't take. The wood is muktzah. Somebody's going to ask stira. At the Tevin, even if you didn't take from the Tevin, it's the same one like Reb Shimon. You don't have to have specifically in mind, as long as it wasn't negated. And regarding the wood, it says no. The wood in the shed, there you have to what? You have to have already started to take. So if you already started to take from that shed for, let's say, for kindling wood, we say he already has in mind, that's for kids. But let's say he hasn't yet started to take from that particular pile. Since he didn't have specifically in mind, he's not permitted. So that's called like Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda is more machmik, that you have to have specifically in mind. So the last sentence of the Mishnah is a contradiction. Teven, you don't have to have kavanah. You can take, even if it's a new pile of straw. And we're talking about wood, he already had to begin taking. So if it's going like Reb Shimon, we should differentiate. Gemara says the eitzim subuktzimach son kiss. It's building materials. It says building materials. Building materials means because of its value, it's negated for any other usage other than building. So if you want to use it for firewood, you have to undo that particular designation. That's the reason why. So even Reb Shimon agrees to that. Buktzimach son kiss, something that's negated and established for something specific. Unless you have in mind to undo that, it's muktzah, because it's meant for that, not for something else. Okay? Tana, we learned in the Brayso, it says you should take it, carry it in hand, don't carry it in a basket or in a box. Totally. But it's learned in the Brayso, what about, he has, so Rashi says he invited many guests, and it could be too burdensome for him to carry it in his hand. He can't. Or as many times as he comes, he just can't transport it. Then we allow him to put it in the basket or the box, because that's the only way he can accommodate the orchim. Rashi says, "Kol shezimin orchim harbe, so chovi harbe biyachad muter." Okay, Rava b'mechuza, asking Rava b'mechuza. Rava, he actually put in place legislating mechuza aleph. The Doru B'docha Lidru Baraglo. Yeah. If they would normally carry something like on a moat, a moat that, with this poles over their shoulders, Lidru, they should carry Bariglo. It's like a hand truck. If you normally carry it on your shoulder, the Doru Bariglo Lidru Be'igro. If you normally transport it, because that's the way they do it during the week, you should do it be'igro. What's be'igro? Yasir b'yomdu b'shnei b'nei odom b'mot. Yeah, because if two people, normally the person carries, let's say, with a pole over his shoulder, it's heavy. There's a pail on each side, each end of the pole.
Right.
But what about be'igro means you have two people. So two people, it's lighter. During the week, you don't have two people carrying such a thing. The Dora be'igro lidju b'achfo. Normally during the week, if they carry it, with two people carry it, then they should transport it b'achpo. What's achpo? Yeah. Mot b'yadem mishum shinu, meaning they don't put it on the shoulders, but they hold the poles in their hands. Normally you put the poles across the shoulders. They should hold it. Achpo means from the word kaf. It's in their kaf, in their palm. Dora b'achpo nifra suja aluya. If they normally say after the shino, so you know what they do? They should make a cloth cover over the barrel. Okay? Even though efsher, shori, and let's say you can't, so you do it the way you normally do it. The Omar Marin, the efsher, the shanas bright, mutter, we learn the Beitzah. We try to behave in a way which it doesn't resemble the weekday activity. But let's say because of the circumstance, you have many orchim, or something's not available, you can't be mishana, you just do it the way you normally do it, in terms of transporting. Because what are we dealing with? We're trying, it shouldn't be perceived, it's moved to the whole. Right? So therefore, if you can do it, fine. If you can't do it, just do what you have to do. Omalei Rav Chona bar Rava the Ravashi. Rav Chona bar Rava said, Omer Rabbana, the Chacham say, Kamat Efshel Shnu Shaninan, B'yom Tavo. That as much as you're able to do it differently from the weekday in Yom Tov, you should do it. These women, they fill up the barrels with water on Yom Tov. They don't do it differently. And what? And nobody says a word to them. If the halacha is you're supposed to try to do it differently. These women, they fill up the barrels on Yom Tov as they normally wouldn't, and nobody says a word to them that they should try to do it differently. Let's say you fill up with a large barrel, fill it with a smaller barrel. These women, they're always filling with larger barrels. See, what are you going to say? You're going to say, what? Why is it impossible? So he answered him. Ravashi answered, because they're not able to do it differently. These women cannot do it differently. Why? So Ravashi said, how should they do it differently? The Maldi Bechatz of Rabbo, because they normally, let's say, they fill it with large barrels. Tamali Bechatz Zuto, we should tell them they should use smaller barrels. That would be the change, right? Kamashi Bilucha. So then what are we causing? You're causing a burden. They have to walk back and forth many more times, right? If you tell them to use a smaller barrel, right? The Maldi Bechatzuzuta, if they normally fill with smaller barrels, so going back for a dozen, Tamali Bechatzu Rabo, you tell them to fill with a larger barrel, but you know what the problem? Kamashi B'masui. They say it's too heavy, it's much heavier. The Chasa B'nachtamo, what do you mean? So at least let them cover it with a lid, put a lid on the barrel of water. Zimde Nofel Osi Lasui, because it may fall off, and they'll come to transport it. So what's wrong with transporting it?
Private to public.
No, it's Yom Tov. It's Yom Tov. It's Yom Tov.
So then you could use the top.
No, because what happened means Zimne Nofel Asuye Tiktere. Yeah. Zimne Nofel Osil Asuye. I'll come to carry it. Yeah. We'll see in a moment. So you say, Tiktere, let him tie it. Zim de mafsik, v'osi lemiktere. You know what the problem is? If, let's say you normally have like a band over it, so you slip the lid on the, what happens if that band tears? He's going to have tying on Yom Tov.
Right.
So you're not letting him make Keshel Kayoma.
Right.
Right? So therefore, it's something which is the Efsher. Tifus Sujaluya, so let him at least cover it not with a wooden lid. Put a cloth. Zim de bitmesh b'maya v'osel de'eschito. What happens if the cloth falls into the water? It gets saturated with water. She's going to wring it out.
Right.
Wrings it out. This is horaisa.
Yeah.
Hilkoch lo efsher. Therefore, the way they do it, we don't say a word because there's no alternative. This is the only way to do it. Okay. Okay. Hilgach Loach, Amalei Rav Chanan, Amalei Rava bar Rav Chanan Labaye, before Rav Chanan bar Rava was speaking to Rav Ashi. So Rav Chanan bar Chanan said to Abaye, before it was Rav Chanan bar Rava said to Rav Ashi, this is Rav Chanan bar Rava bar Rav Chanan, must be the grandson, said to Abaye, Tinan, ein metapin misapin miraktin. You're not permitted to be metapeach. You're not permitted, like that, from musical, to hit your hands on your sides, clap, and you're not permitted to dance. I mean, people do it. Nobody says a word to them.
Right.
What?
Right. No one says anything.
So the question is, why not? Like by the women just asked. Why don't you say words? He says, because they can't change. But here they're doing something wrong. You're not permitted. You say that a person should not sit at the entrance of a mavui where the lechi is, because they may drop the object and it will roll out of the mavui. So out of the mavui, what's outside, that's Rishus Harabim. So he's going to go retrieve and bring it back. These women, they take their barrels and they sit at the entrance of the mavui. Wanted to say something to these women, that they're doing the wrong thing, because there's a gzero, that if they drop it, it may roll out and they're going to go bring it back. Hello, what's the answer? Hanach Yisrael, just leave Jews alone. Let them do what they're doing, even though they're not doing the right thing. Why? Better they should violate inadvertently than do it deliberately, because if you tell them, they're not going to change. Interesting. Okay. That we say mutav shishog v'amizidim is only when they're violating inadvertently the what? A rabbinical law. But if you're doraisa, no, you have to say something. Loshna doraisa loshna drabanan. Merkel no, doesn't make it draban doraisa. Lo amru lo midi. We don't say a word unless the Gemara says it's going to be explicit in the Torah. But if it's based on an interpretation, then even though this is the rice, we don't say a word. What's the proof? Adding to Yom Kippur at the entry and at the concluding, there's a mitzvah to add some time. It's called Tosefes Yom Kippurim. And the people, they go and they eat Erev Yom Kippur, they eat right into nightfall. So what the answer is, that's the answer. Better they should violate inadvertent than deliberate. Even though they're violating this doraisa. But if it would be explicit in the Torah, then you have to say something. I was going to say something before. Now there's a famous Tosas here. Rashi says, you don't clap, we don't dance. So Mar says in the fifth paragraph, Shemisak Klishir, because you may fashion the musical instrument. So Tosas says, Pirsh Rashi Misak Klishir, Umili Didan Shari. He says, Tosas says for us, it's permitted. Even though time of the Gemara wasn't permitted, for us it's permitted. Why? People are so adept, they could fashion a musical instrument out of nothing. Today, we're not so capable. Therefore, the whole concept of Shemishak and Klishir, he may fashion an instrument, has no application to us.
Okay.
Yeah. Dafka be may show you begin last Klishir Shaykh Limiter. I will didan, but to us, ain't ono begin last Klishir will Shaykh Limiter. So it's not possible to make the zero. Yeah. I mean the difficult with Tosa. I mean, the back the Rush brings an Aviezri argues that even today you're not permitted, even though the Gemara says. Because there's a principle that once they legislate a law, even though the reason doesn't apply any longer, once it's on the books, it's on the books.
Right.
They didn't say, as long as this if they would say, as long as the problem exists, then it's in place. If not, it's not. Okay, so if people today can't fashion instruments, but they didn't say that. They said, you're not permitted to play instruments. And then you ask, why? They didn't say because. They didn't tell the because.
Right.
right? They establish it.
Mhm.
Reason why they establish it, the Gemara says, Shem Yisak Klishir. But when they taught it, they said, you're not, they said it flat out, you're not permitted. So because they didn't tie one to the other, it's not contingent on that.
Okay.
Okay?
But Tosfos doesn't agree with that?
Tosfos doesn't agree with that. Tosfos says that since today they're not adept, it's permitted to let them permitted. I have, of course, we rule that you're not permitted. We don't rule like Tosfos.
You do rule that you're not permitted.
You're not permitted. You're not permitted.
How does that apply nowadays? If someone is not from,
Yeah.
do we have to say something?
No, of course not. Even the Raisa you don't say. You understand?
But there's opinion here that says we have to say it.
No, the Gemara concludes, even by the Raisa, if it's not explicit, you don't have to say a word. So let's say you have a case. A person is eating a sandwich. Meat and cheese. Kosher meat, kosher cheese sandwich. Together. You have to say a word? You have to say a word. But that's only if you believe that if you say something, the person will deliver it. Let's say a person is going to eat what you tell him. Of course you should tell him. Right? So what I was saying, so if you see a person eating kosher meat with kosher cheese, one sandwich, you have to say what's drabbanan. Right? It's impossible for those. They're cooked together. They're cooked together. They're not cooked together. You're eating together. You don't have to say a word.
What's an example of explicit thing?
A person's eating not kosher meat, non-ritual slaughtered meat. You say to the person, by the way, it's not kosher. You don't say, well, now, until now, he doesn't know anything about kashrus, this person. This is not Musa. This is not Musa. It's just telling him. Right? He said, by the way, you know, a Jew's not speaking non kosher meat. The person, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know. And of course you should tell him. But you tell him, you say, by the way, you know, you're not permitted to do that. He says, I wasn't aware of that. But let's say when he says, I'm unaware, he's going to do it in either case. So now, you haven't made it better, you made it worse. So until now, when he violated, it was inadvertent. Now that he knows it's not permitted, now he's going to violate it. That's the problem. So therefore, you're not supposed to say it. You don't say anything to the person. Because we have the principle of mutim shogman receiving. What?
And also, there's an earlier factor of knowing the person. You know, how anybody's going to react. We wouldn't know unless we know the person personally.
Yeah. Okay? It's a separate thing. Giving Musar is a different thing. Who do you give Musar to? One saw it in Canada. It's a different concept. We rule that if you see a Jew violating the Torah, you don't have to say a word. You don't have to, right? You don't have to try to stop him from doing the Avera. It's cut nochal nevelos, ein bezin tshuva lafrisho. If you see a child eating nevela, the bezin has no obligation. The father has no obligation. Because the father is obligated chinuch. He has to stop his child. Bezin, we have no obligation. The whole concept of aremus, kosher aremus, is only by an adult, not by a minor. Right? Okay? So I was walking once, maybe 10 years ago. I was walking Lexington and 65th, and there's an Arab selling hot dogs. On top it says Sabbath hot dogs, you know, the canvas. And this man, he buys this kid a hot dog. The little boy has a big velvet yarmulke on his head, sits his hand out of his pants, and he's eating this hot dog. His father bought him. So I didn't know if I should say anything about it. You know? Maybe he wasn't aware. He wasn't aware that, that it wasn't kosher, which I doubt. I didn't say anything because I didn't know how he would react, this person. Okay. Ein otel eitz min ha-sukkah. Right? Let's say you have a sukkah, you have the walls, you have the schach. The person needs a toothpick. And he breaks off a piece of wood to use as a toothpick. or he needs something the equivalent of a match. Right? Breaks off a piece, puts it in the fire, and goes lights whatever he has to find. Which is, lighting the wood is not a problem. It's yomtiv, right? Einot le'etzim min hasuka, ela min hasamach lo.
Can you take it from the sukkah?
What's that? So what does that mean? Yeah, but you're permitted to take min hasamach lo. See what that means. Ma'ishno min hasuka. Why? Right? It says you can't take eitzim from the sukkah itself, but near the sukkah you could take. Now the question is, where did that wood come from? If it was pre-designated, okay, so even from the sukkah you should be able to take it.
Right.
Person says, tomorrow I'm going to take. I'm not talking about where you're breaking it.
Okay.
You put like twigs,
Right.
and you made it so you can't take any of that wood and use it for what?
Right.
Use it for kindling wood. Ma'ishnom bin hasuka lo the kososer. The reason is because since the branches are interwoven, so by taking it, it's a stira. It's the equivalent. You're dismantling the sukkah.
Oh. Okay.
Okay. The kososer olo. When it says somuch, meaning it's again, you have like bundles which are like, let's say the wall is 2 feet thick.
Okay.
So you were saying from the inside you can't take, from the outside you could take. But if it's all attached,
Well,
you're also
right.
dismantling. That's the first question. Olo, right? Min hasamach lo, nami kososa olo. Elover of Yehuda Mishmuel, my samach litfanos. So we're talking about the walls are thick. So therefore, if the walls are thick, and if you take any, you're dismantling the walls. Rav Nasha Omar Afil Tem B'Shein Samach Litfanos. Even let's say the bundles are not near the walls. Tanya Hi Bisoraiso. Bisoraiso, I think bundles of spices. Let's see. אלא מן הסמוך לא השתו למשהו מאימות אוב שלא סוכן מהרי. כגון פסח ובצרס יושי בסוכה בגירה או פרס אין נוטל עצם מן הסוכה אלא מן הסמוך לא. השתו משמע אם אוי אוב שלא סוכן מהרי מותר ליטו מהם. הסוסה אולו gave him the bottle. It's interesting. Rashi learns the case of here מן הסוכה, it's not sukkahs on sukkahs.
So it's just the...
Here we talk purely the question of muktzah and stira.
Okay.
Why? Because the Gemara says a sukkah, the Gemara say later, a sukkah during sukkahs has kedushas korban. It has the sanctity of the chagiga. So therefore, regardless, even if you're not dismantling the sukkah, taking anything in the sukkah, it has consecrated status. So you're not permitted to use the free personal usage. So therefore, Rashi lives on Pesach. It's on Shavuos. Sitting in a hut for shade.
Good.
So we were saying, so it's purely limited to Shabbos. What are you permitted, what you're not permitted to do? And muktzah, yeah. Kitanya hi b'tzuraisa. It means bundles. Tanya Reb Chia bar Yosef Kamei. Okay. Tani Reb Chia bar Yosef Kamei the Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Chia bar Yosef had presented a rice for Rabbi Yochanan. Ein noten eitzim in Asuka. Element of Samachla. Shim Matir. Shim permits. The Tanakama says you can't take min Asuka only from what's near the walls. Shim is Matir. The Shovin b'Sukkah Achag here is it. But what about Sukkah? The Sukkah on Yom Tiv. Sukkah Achag b'Chag Asuro. You're not permitted. Ivan Tomar. Yeah, excuse me. As Vim Hisno Leo HaKol Fitno. But let's say he said he wants to be able to use it on Yom Tov. Again, if he makes the sukkah, it says on sukkah you're not permitted to take it because it was designated he needs it for Yom Tov.
Right.
What about he says he makes a precondition? It should be used for sukkah, but if I should want to take some of the wood, I should be able to take for my personal need. If he makes that Tanai, it's not a problem. That sounds
like on Shabbos then. That you're putting it away, or you're designating it.
Why is that?
In other words, you're saying that I'm going to use it, so Muktzah doesn't come into play at that point. So since there's no Muktzah on Yom Tov, there's only Muktzah on Shabbos.
Shabbos there is Muktzah. More machmer. Muktzah will machmer on Yom.
Right, so it sounds like they're talking about Shabbos here.
No. Yom Tov. But not different. Yom Tov, Shabbos, same thing. If you make it tonight, we allow you to take on Sukkos.
On Sukkos.
By the way, Reb Shimon Matir.
Okay.
Tomorrow is so Allah. Again, you're dismantling it. It's like a very shaky sukkah. It's collapsing.
Okay.
Reb Shimon Tamed being like this, the sukkah stood and was about to collapse. Now the sukkah collapsed. So now when he's taking the wood, he's taking from the collapsed sukkah. So if you hold like Rabbi Yehuda, that Ben Hashmoshes, if you would have taken the wood in Soser, even though it's no longer Soser, you're not permitted to take it. It's like the animal dying.
Right.
An animal will die, you're not permitted to benefit from its carcass, according to Reb Shimon.
Right.
If you were expecting it to die, you can't.
Right.
It's the same thing. It was a sukkah. It was a shaky sukkah, and it finally collapsed on Yom Tov. According to Reb Shimon, you can take from the wood. Why can you take from the wood? Because it's not standing. It's not soser. Right. That's what our answer is. We're speaking out of sukkah that collapsed. Reb Shimon Latame, the less than muksa, the time Moshe Hashem should be there. That's the case. The residue of oil that's left in the oil candle. Shibakar Osir, Tanakam says it's Osir. Reb Shimon, Matir, he's Matir. Why is he Matir? Because there's no Muktzah, that's the Machlokas. Tanakam holds Muktzah. Whereas Migdami, Hosm, Odom Yoshim, Mitzape, Mosei, Tirpa, Neiro. Hocha Odom Yoshim, Mitzape, Mosei, Tibot, Sukosa. Now this has to do with the Gemara Shabbos. The Gemara Mishnah says in Shabbos, if you have a 4-hour candle, whenever the 4-hour candle goes out, it's inevitable there's going to be some oil left. Shimon says when the candle goes out, you get to use that oil for salad dressing. Rabbi says you can't. But since when Shabbos began, that oil was off limits to you. Because if you would have taken out any oil, you would have been extinguishing the light. Therefore, you're not permitted. Okay. So the Gemara says, what about according to Reb Shimon, if you would have a 26-hour candle that's meant to burn through Shabbos, and something happens that causes it to go out early? Reb Shimon's in agreement you cannot use that added oil. Because the first case, he was expecting it to go out after so many hours, and on Shabbos, the oil would be available.
Right.
But if it's a 26-hour candle, it's what? No, it wasn't expecting that oil will be available until on Shabbos.
Right.
So when he lit that candle, what was that act of lighting? It was a negation. This oil is designated to fuel this fire, nothing but that.
Right.
Even if it goes out 5 minutes later, it doesn't make a difference. Because he already stated his point, he's not going to benefit from it.
Good.
Okay? So that's what we're talking about over here also. If it wouldn't be a sukkah ruah, if it wouldn't sukkah no fellas, we would be dealing with what? With soser.
Right.
You're dismantling the sukkah. How do you break a piece of wood off the sukkah? So the answer is, it fell. So it fell. It's like, so when Yom Tov began, it's like candles burning. When it collapses, it's the residue of oil left after the candle goes out. Exact same thing. Must be dummy. The most Hashem was a ner kotom. So the person, he's waiting for it to go out because he knows on Shabbos the oil's going to be available. Also, the person builds a sukkah, he's waiting for it to collapse. Evidently, it's not going to collapse. We're speaking that the sukkah was made from very flimsy materials, and therefore it's shaky.
Good.
It's not simple how long this is going to last. So we're setting it in a specific case. Sukkah ruah. The word ruah means shaky.
Right. Look on the boat.
Amar Rav Nachman Yitzchok Sukkah ruah askinon. The me'esmol daita aluya. Here, before Shabbos, before Yom Tov began, he already had in mind that this sukkah is going to collapse. It's like the oil candle. He's aware, now I can't take the oil. But once it goes out, I can take it. Here, I can't take the splinter now because it's dismantling. But if it should fall, and I'm expecting it to fall, I want to benefit from that wood. So he could.
And this is another fact, no, it's
No. Because they could be on sukkahs, they could be on. It falls apart.
No, only as Kedusha. No. Only during Yom Tov. We'll talk about the Kedusha in a moment. Hakol lefi to know. It says, but if he makes it tonight, it's all chuk sachag b'chag. If you make it tonight, you want to benefit from the wood, you could benefit from the wood. Someone says, "Mimahani but tonight." Does a precondition help? How do we know that the wood of the sukkah are forbidden all 7 days of sukkahs? Shenemar, Chag HaSukkah Shivas Yomim Lashem. So what does that mean? Chag HaSukkah, it's Lashem. So it's for God. V'tanya, where V'tanya Rabbi Yehuda ben Beseir Omer, Minayin Shem Shechal Shem Shemayim Ala Chagigo. How do we, just as when you consecrate a chagiga, Hashem's name is on that. That's the basis for the holiness. Same thing's true in regard to the sukkah. Just as the chag is Lashem, Av sukkah Lashem. When you build a sukkah, that's also Lashem.
Good.
Okay? So therefore it has Kedusha. Further. Tiny Rabbi Yehuda say, "Romi me'an Shem shechal Shem Shemayim lo chagi kachal Shem Shemayim al sukkah tamalo chag l'chsus l'Shem ma chag l'Shem apsuka l'Shem." Omer Rav Menashe. Omer Menashe Berei Derovo Seif Osel l'Sukkah de'almo Avu Sukkah de'mitzvah lo mahani b'otano. Amra Menashe, Berei Derovo, Sefer Asin Avusukah de Alma. Avusukah de Mitzvah Lo Mahani Botano. He's arguing. He's arguing with what we just said. That even if you make a precondition, you can't. Okay? Amra Menashe Berei Derovo, Sefer Asin Sukkah de Alma, ordinary sukkah. Avusukah de Mitzvah, but if you be a sukkah's mitzvah, Lo Mahani Botano, it's not going to help. Okay. Somewhere asks, the sukkah mitzvah low. A sukkah mitzvah you can't make nevotanya. Sukkah kilchoso. Sicha kilchoso. A person builds a sukkah, meets all the criteria of a kosher sukkah. V'itcher b'kromim, v'sadinin, v'mtzuyorin. And he puts all the decorations in the sukkah. Right? The tapestries. V'tolba gozim. He hung nuts, shkedim, almonds, afarskim, pears, peaches, rimonim, farcheli anovim, pomegranates, clusters of grapes, yeno, shmonim, saltos, wine, flour, oil, ator shibolim, bunches of grain. You're not permitted to take of this even chalamoid. You're not permitted to take of those decorations until after Yom Tov is over. Why? Because it was designated. But if you made a precondition, it's everything is based on the condition, right? So he's asking. We said over. Nashim Barabba said that a sukkah d'alma you can make when it falls, you can benefit from it. But if a sukkah's a mitzvah, tonight doesn't help.
Right.
So he says, so what do you mean? We're quoting a Bryce. It says here that if you make it tonight, you can benefit from it. And it says he decorated on sukkahs. Abaye v'rov damei tavai b'ome eni boldamin kol ben hashmosh l'chola kedusha layu. It says very nice like this. He's saying this. Let's say sukkahs is 70 Yom Tov. Let's say he says the first day I want the kedusha should be on it with all the decorations. Cholamoid, I'm making it tonight. It should be for 3 days, but cholamoid it should not be.
Okay.
Can't. Once the kedusha takes effect, it goes the whole way. Could a person say, I want to be a shlomim today, but not a shlomim tomorrow?
No.
Once you consecrate an animal, once it takes hold, it goes all the way. So the same thing. If he would have said initially, I don't want the decorations that assume the kedusha of the sukkah, that means from day one, kedusha never has any relevance to it.
Right.
But if he says it should have kedusha, and then the kedusha should go off, it can't go off. Because once the kedusha goes on, it stays on till after Yom Tov. Okay, that's what it's saying. Let's see. I'm not separating myself, even the first Ben Hashmoshos, the first twilight period, the entry point of Yom Tov. The kedusha wasn't chal, didn't come upon it whatsoever. Sukkah, but a sukkah you can't make it tonight, right? Because the Torah doesn't say you have to decorate your sukkah. So the decorations are extra. So you could make it tonight, say, I don't want those decorations to assume the status of the sukkah. But could you say the sukkah? Torah says sukkah is chagiga. What you yotze the mitzvah has kedusha chagiga. It's a korban. So therefore, there's no way you can benefit from that wood. From today to tomorrow, say, I'm making a condition, I should be able to. How can you, if it's a sukkah's mitzvah, it's chagiga. Right? That it's already designated for 7 days. It's off limits to you. So Tosfos makes a differentiation over here. What about if you have a sukkah which was built as a sukkah's mitzvah, and then it collapses? In the collapsed state, does it still have kedushas chagiga? Which means like this: for Yom Tov you can't use it. Collapse. And what happens to cholamoid? Cholamoid, the muktzah, you're allowed to engage with muktzah. So the question is, but now could I use it for something else?
Or can I reuse it to build another?
No. To build another is not even the question. You could, because that's again that you're reinstating the mitzvah. But you want to use it as firewood,
Okay.
right?
It uses the mitzvah.
No, you're not using for anything disgraceful. You're not using for anything disgraceful.
You could use it.
Well, we'll see. Tosfos speaks about it over here. Because Tosfos is a question: what do we need the reason that what once it's muktzah at the entry points muktzah throughout Yom Tov, that as kedushas chagiga, you're not permitted to benefit from it.
Right.
The answer is, I think Tosfos says that's only while it stands.
Oh,
If it's functional, then it has kedushas chagiga.
okay.
Once it collapses, it doesn't have kedushas chagiga any longer. So if that's the case, so why can't you use it? The answer is, since at the entry point was muktzah because of soser,
So now
because you'd have to dismantle it, even though soser doesn't apply any longer, you can't use it any longer.
Good.
So therefore you need both. The first one's not enough of a reason. That's Rabbeinu Tam. Here he says, this Tosfos diamond. Read Pirish Devadi. Kol zman shasukah umet abamido. As long as sukkah is standing, shaykh b'machag l'Hashem av sukkah l'Hashem. Because it's a functional sukkah. Aval kishen noflo. But once it falls, lo shaykh b'machag l'Hashem, because it's no longer functional. V'im kein hoyel yochel terutzei hochem hashatzi sukkah asura mikro. Machag hainu shoyu amido. Av shenofu al noka emes shenofu nami asurim asurim tamus. We'll stop here.